This is an AMI podcast.
The moment you doubt whether you can fly, you cease forever to be able to do it. Welcome, this is AMI Audiobook Review, the weekly podcast where we chat all things audiobooks, and I'm your host, Ramia Amuthan. Starting with that weekly quote that you just heard by J.M. Barrie. It's from Peter Pan. Oh my goodness. Okay, so full disclosure, the more quotes I find from children's novels, because that's what we're featuring this month. It's back to school month, people. Don't cover your ears. It's okay. We're enjoying it. We're embracing back to school month. But here we go. So the more quotes that I read from children's books and children's stories and hear the titles, the more I remember that I didn't read a lot of children's books growing up here. Because though I grew up in Canada, most of my childhood was spent here, a lot of my familiarity with children's literature is through Sri Lankan, Tamil, language and translations, some of it, but most of it was storytelling of Tamil literature. So I look at this now as an adult and I go, Peter Pan. I never read that. I don't even think I watched the Disney movie. So I'm turning it over to Nisreen. Nisreen, did you read Peter Pan at all or check out the Disney Peter Pan?
I only checked out the Disney.
Okay.
I never got into the book, and I feel so guilty for saying that. I can't believe I never thought about it.
Yeah. Okay, let's just tell everybody. Most Disney stuff, some of it, but most of it, are books first. So, check out the books, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds
Check out the books, yeah? I feel like there's a collaborative book collection of just one book of a bunch of Disney stories. There has to be, right?
maybe.
I feel like there's a bunch of Disney stories in just one book. I'm going to have to search this up, and if we find one, I'm going to order one today.
And
I'll keep you posted.
Please
Yeah.
do. And on Disney Plus, the streaming service, they should put up a category that is, these were books first. Books turned to screen plays or whatever.
Email Disney Plus
Yeah.
about this idea.
I feel like this is already a thing on Netflix. Anyways, but they should do it on Disney Plus because, there would be a ton, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, this is us speculating so much on
Love it.
Audiobook Review. Exactly. Let's check out the CELA homepage. We love doing this. CELAlibrary.ca. That's the Center for Equitable Library Access. 3 titles up there. You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Akiki Amizi. And this is a contemporary romance. The second one is River of the Gods by Candace Millard, Adventurers and Explorers. Check this one out. All the Things We Don't Talk About by Amy Felkin. All the Things We Don't Talk About by Amy Feltman. This is a family stories category, and that's it up there. We're not chatting about this last one today, but we will get to it soon. Okay, that's heads up for next week. Maybe just a teaser. Nisreen, we're celebrating something today. It's been 50 weeks since we started AMI Audiobook Review.
No way.
Yeah, this is our 50th episode. We're a weekly podcast, so we're on
Wow.
episode 50. Shout out to us. We've had conversations.
We did it.
Yes.
We
50.
always look back at the first episode or like the first week and we're like, oh my God. We were so nervous back then of just starting it out.
I know, and we're not going to play a clip because we don't do
No.
that. But
This is secrecy, okay?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
you can't look back.
yeah,
we
but
move
50
forward.
episodes later, how do we feel now? Only a tad bit nervous, but mostly good.
I feel growth. I feel strength.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've entered a whole new world in audiobooks.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm always reading audiobook news, which is insane.
I know.
So
stepping it
it's
up.
nice. It's nice. I
Yes.
feel like I'm part of the audiobook family officially. When I
Ooh.
started out, I didn't feel like that. So
You
it's nice.
You are definitely part of the audiobook family, giving us news all the time and getting involved in the conversations and even asking the questions like, was this movie a book already? You know what I mean? Like this was a good, like you said, a great growth, great learning curves, and we've had conversations, like 50 conversations with 50 guests and contributors, and it's been so fun so far. And we're not telling you that we're leaving or going anywhere. We're just letting you know we're at 50, and we're very excited to keep going. And Nasreen, speaking of your role, you have what's trending.
I got something exciting for us today. So, Kevin Hart is buffing up his brand as a motivational speaker. The comedian, actor, producer, entrepreneur will release a new audiobook called Monsters and How to Tame Them, Taking Charge of the Voices in Your Head.
Whoa.
And it is set to release next month on Audible. In the forthcoming title, Hart promises to help you slay the negative self-talk monsters that keep you from living your best life. All wrapped in his signature honesty, hilarious voice, and adept storytelling, according to Audible. And we know that he has a natural, hilarious voice and natural motivational speaker voice. So I'm really excited about this. His audiobook identifies a series of mental gremlins and strategies on dealing with them, including the control monster in you. So that means the need to control everyone and everything around you, the comparison monster, which means benchmarking yourself against others, leading to irrational jealousy, and lastly, approval monster, which means the nagging feeling of wanting approval from the entire world. So I need to ask you, because I can identify one mental gremlin in my head, and this is great to strategize on dealing with them. So the inner monster in me between control, comparison, and approval is control and comparison for me.
Oh. For me, I think
So
it's a little bit of all three I could honestly relate to, but probably control being the one that really stands out. The need for control, right? That's what that is. Okay.
the need to control things and everything around you, but mainly for me is comparison. I do tend to compare myself to other people and think,
Yeah.
I'm not that good. I need to be better. I'm not doing good enough. I'm always, bringing myself down at times. This is us being human. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we're working on
Absolutely.
ourselves.
Yeah,
Like, this
that's
is me being
huge.
honest. And yeah.
You
So
know what? I totally acknowledge what you're saying. We're all human. We're all kind of going through it. And then the big thing is flipping this back to what's actually going on, which is Kevin Hart. He's
yeah.
coming out with all of this information and psychology and dealing. And I think it's so not, I don't want to say unique, but I think it's so helpful for him because he's a
Mm-hmm.
stand-up comedian. Like, we know him as the funny guy, and even if you hear him in interviews and stuff, like, he's got a lot going on, but his
Yeah.
personality is so flamboyant. And to think that he's going to talk about some real personal stuff and put vulnerability right out on the table for us is
Yeah.
going to be something
Yeah,
crazy.
it's going to be
you know?
insane.
Yeah.
So it is set to release September 15th, 2022, next month. And I think when it comes out, we should take a look at it even deeper and see and review it eventually when it comes out.
This is AMI Audiobook Review. I'm your host, Ramya Amuddin, and thanks for joining us. If you have any recommendations you'd want us to tell everybody on the show, then you can send us those recommendations via phone, 1-866-509-4545, or via email, feedback@ami.ca. We can take some of your commentary there. And please, if you want us to play an actual message on air, give us permission to do that. So, it's the time of the month where we want to go through another Know Your Narrator segment. This is brought to us by Sara Hillis, and she's got the pick for August. Sarah, first of all, how's your reading going? How's the month?
Yeah, pretty good. I'm rereading a lot of books, actually, one of which is narrated by the author, which is sometimes hit or miss, but this one's pretty good. So
Okay. Well, tell us who the pick is, and then we can get right into it.
Well, I've chosen Davina Porter, who is most often associated with the recorded books audio company, but I think she's worked with other companies as well. Many people will know her as the voice of Claire in the Outlander
Oh yeah.
novels, right?
Yeah.
And so
Well, first of all, I mean, so many people read the Outlander series. Like we got to start there. That in audio format, I mean, and love it. Are you one
Mhm.
of them?
Oh yeah, I'm still
Okay.
stuck in book 6, but it's not because of Davina's narration at all. It's just that I keep reading other things instead. But
Okay, no worries.
yeah.
We're not going to hold it against you, or at least like the people who are loving Outlander are not going to hold it against you.
No, I love the series. It's
Yeah.
great.
Awesome. Okay, so where should we start with? Like, do you want to describe maybe a little bit of her voice to us? Is that doable?
Yeah,
Or like the kind
I'd
of thing she does?
I'd say that Davina Porter's voice it's very musical, very light, I guess you could call it, and lilting, I suppose. She's from England originally, so she's got that lovely accent that we
Yeah.
all like, a very sort of cultivated accent, but she can do lots of other accents too. And speaking of voice, she actually said on an interview I heard actually, which was really cool, that she uses her voice, her old lady voice, to emphasize her elderliness sometimes when she's trying to get through lines or something. She doesn't sound like that really, but she sometimes does that.
It's a different type of performance, right? Than like doing the voice changes or putting on accents, but there's a performance in that as well.
Yeah. I don't know if she was joking or not, but I think that's pretty funny.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, that's awesome. And one of the biggest, I guess, reasons for timeliness of picking Davina is her announcement that she made recently.
Yeah, she has decided that the 9th Outlander book is her last official book. She's not going to be a working narrator anymore. She said if a really good one came along, she might consider doing one more, but she's basically retiring. She wanted to go out on a high note. She's over 30 years, 35 years or something like this. 37, I guess.
Of her career?
When she started doing this, yeah.
Wow.
She started in 85, so
That's pretty long. And she's done
Yeah.
obviously more than Outlander, but this is not the end of the Outlander series, though, no?
No.
Okay.
And I seriously hope they can find a really good narrator to take up the mantle, but I don't know, because
That's
she's
gonna be
just
hard.
she's Claire and she loves Claire. She wants to be Claire. She just thinks she's great. And yeah.
So, because we know that she's done after book 9, like that was it, and when book 9 was coming out, everybody was on it. But we know that the Outlander series itself is not going to be done yet. I mean, I think a lot of people are gonna grieve that she's not going to be the narrator. But what do you think, like personally, right, as a fan of the series, do you think that they would just pick another narrator that sounds like her or could give that same type of performance? It's going to be big shoes to step in, obviously. Or do you think they'll go a totally different route for the audiobooks?
I would hope that they keep a similar sound to the narrator. No one can be Davina, but I think they could find someone that would do a good job. But yeah, we'll have to see. Because it's hard when you lose a narrator from a series. It's really hard.
Yeah, it is, and I wonder if they have somebody else doing the next book. Do you know if the 10th is the final one?
I don't know if it'll be the final one, and I have no idea when it's coming out either. So
Okay.
could be another 7 years for all we know. I don't know.
I know. But it does make me curious because then if somebody else reads the next one, are they going to make that narrator read the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, all the way up to the 10th as well? This has happened in other places. But
hope not, because it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of money to spend.
I know, right? Exactly. But okay, so tell us more about the narrator. Like, how much has she actually done?
Well, she has been an actress, a stage actress primarily, in fact, exclusively, and she's done this voice audiobook narration too. And I'm not sure if I'm right about this, but I think I read she might have narrated 400 books. But that sounds a lot, but that might be true because some of them are shorter, obviously, right? So, and she's narrated classics. Like my favorite one is Tess of the D'Urbervilles. I love that book anyway. It's Thomas Hardy. It's, I'm an English nerd, so love her performance of that. She really brought Tess to life. It's easy not to, I think.
Right.
But she did a good job of that. And she's done histories, and she's done satire type stuff, and comedies, and mysteries, and whatever Outlander is, because it's like all bunches of genres all at once. I first encountered her with The Mists of Avalon by Marion Zimmer Bradley, and I had read it just on my computer with, like, I'd scanned the book and read it in my university days. And I found this recording, and I was like, this is exactly the type of voice this recording should have. And I was so excited. So, yeah.
And so, did you follow her since that? Like, since your first encounter? Or it just popped up that she was also doing Outlander?
No, I didn't really follow her precisely, because I didn't have Audible at that point or anything like that. But every time I saw that she was narrating a book, I was like, ooh, let's get that book, that sort of thing. So
okay,
yeah,
got it. And she's also got a lot of awards, accolades.
Yeah, she's won some Audies. I can't even name them all. There's so many. She's won some Audies and some Earphones Awards from Audiophile magazine. She's one of Audiophile's Golden Voices, which is apparently a very big deal in the world of audiobookness. She's won. She's in the Narrators Hall of Fame.
That I didn't know was a thing.
I didn't either.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then she's also, well, I'm curious for you, because she's done, mostly, I guess, thrillers or suspense, that kind of thing, and then she's done a couple of all kinds of other stuff. Did she ever talk about what she preferred to narrate?
Yeah. Well, she didn't really say genre-wise, but I know she finds it very difficult to read sex scenes, even if they're tastefully done. She just finds it really hard to, name the parts and things like that.
Okay.
And she will read violence, but she doesn't, like, it really makes it hard for her. Like, she's upset by the violence, but she takes it as part of her job. So, but I think she really likes really good dialogue and really wonderful narration and description and stuff like that, for sure. She likes to go to town on those.
Yeah.
And
I'm always curious about that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, just like your preference, right? Because of course, professionally, they'll do most of what comes their way, I'm assuming. Or, you're doing a whole series, you're going to be the narrator for the upcoming, unless you obviously say, no, I'm retiring, sorry. But then if you're not a fan of certain scenes, certain characters even, or the writing itself, it must be difficult. And these books are long, like long.
Yeah, and she says very clearly that, like, her job is not to judge the book. Her job is to bring it to life for whoever might like the book. Even if she thinks the book is really bad, that's not her job to read it listlessly, or she puts the same preparation in for every book she does, and she prepares a lot.
Like how?
She reads the book like many, many, many times.
Oh my.
She makes tons of notes. She sometimes disagrees with her producers on pronunciations, like, because they want it to be understandable and she wants it to be authentic.
Oh my
that sort of thing.
That's awesome.
She's very prim and proper, but she's quite funny as well. The interview, as I say, it's from Behind the Mic, which is an Audiophile magazine podcast, and it was just great. It was such a cool interview.
Right. And she does do more, right? Like, doesn't she sometimes visit places?
Yeah, when she's in the neighborhood, if, like, she was in Scotland one time, and she wanted to visit this place in an Alexander McCall Smith novel. She's done a series of the Sunday Philosophers Club series, and she wanted to go to this street in Edinburgh, and the cab driver was sort of like, "Are you sure you want to go here? Like it's kind of, why are you going here?" And then she explained, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Alexander McCall Smith," because he knows who he is, and he was very happy to show her around after that.
Right. That would be really a fun documentary, right? Like, I think this stuff would look so awesome or feel so awesome to learn about, the prep, like, especially for someone like Davina who's totally embracing every part of it. And then we're talking about studio too, right? Being able to sit in studio and do hours of recording at a time.
Yeah, she learned how to sit very still because, of course, all your clothes make noises, and your stomach can make noises, and things like that. So she learned, and it takes it out of you. I mean, as a musician, you know this, and as a DJ, I know this, and a musician, it takes a lot out of you just to sit in front of a microphone for that long.
Yeah.
And you're just tired at the end of the day. But
Yeah.
no, she learned, and she says she has good lung capacity because she trained as an athletic swimmer when she was young and into her university days, sort of thing.
Well, look at that. Who knew that your swimming lessons would pay off in such a spin, a twist? if you will.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And she's 84, I believe now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, so I kind of don't blame her for retiring.
No, I don't either. I'll be sad to not hear her do Outlander, but
Right. But we'll deal. We'll find somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she had training in theater as well, which makes
Yeah,
sense.
she played in some Oscar Wilde plays and Agatha Christie plays and things like that. Most of her stage career, and she now likes the studio work better because she finds it harder to think on her feet than she used to, and if someone misses a cue, like she just finds it harder to cover for them. So she likes the studio because she can have like control over every aspect of the performance. And
You know what? That's something really unique that I never really expressed very well myself, but it's something that I can relate to. When you're doing something on your own, you're kind of, the outtakes or the retakes or having to fill something in that you missed is just totally on you if you know yourself and your performance well enough, which a professional like her would obviously. But when you're doing the conversation or dialogue, it's totally different.
yeah, exactly.
Well, and on stage, there's all these other things. In studio, you're just sitting. not to make sitting sound like an easy thing to do. Do you know if she listens to audiobooks herself, Sarah?
She does not.
Oh.
She doesn't listen to. She never has.
That's
and
disappointing.
She never listens to herself. That's for sure. And I can completely understand that sentiment. I think. Just doesn't want to get discouraged. Oh, I made a mistake there, and oh, why should I do this? I'm probably not very good at this, and so she doesn't listen to herself, and she doesn't listen to audiobooks in general because she feels like she would just critique them all the time.
True. And then, do you know if she's a fan of Outlander?
Sorry. Yeah, she is an absolute fan of the novels. She does not watch the TV series because she didn't want the TV people to get in her way as far as her performances go. She called Katrina Balfe, the main Claire character in the series. She said she's a newbie. I'm Claire. She's a newbie. She's a Johnny come lately. So no, she's never watched the series, but she loves the books.
Yeah. I actually, I'll bring up Harry Potter again. I feel like I'm going to bring up Harry Potter every time because it's the series that I'm most, involved with, like critique-wise. And
you have to.
Just
You
exactly.
have to.
Yeah. There's no way. I shouldn't even have to explain this, guys, okay? But the thing is, the way that I absolutely love Jim Dale's performance, I can't even fully appreciate Stephen Fry's performance because I'm so engulfed in Jim Dale's. And then watching the movies is an absolute disaster. And I know people who love the movies, but and the same thing with Outlander, the show, right? It has such a huge following, but once you're thrown into the audiobook side and the narration and performance of it that way, even hearing other people do voices is like, I can't, gotta turn this off. So
yeah, see, I don't feel I'm a little more flexible than I would have been about 20 years ago, but I'm a little more flexible about those kinds of things. Haven't read the Stephen Fry's, so don't know, but I'm sorry, Maggie Smith is a good McGonagall in my opinion.
Oh yeah, she's good. Probably my favorite if I had to choose a character. She's awesome. Yeah. But this is great. I mean, it's so nice to learn, behind the scenes, but also the background, right? Like that tidbit about Davina's swimming, helping her with lung capacity.
I know. She just threw that in there. I was like, hey, cool.
Exactly. That's not something that you can really make the connection to yourself until they say it. No, absolutely. This helps me in my current career. But like you said, she's 84. She's asking for a break. And maybe she'll pop up in something sometime for all you fans. But that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's it. I think this is it, unless there's anything else you want to throw in there. But we may have
I think
missed.
we're pretty good.
We're good, right? Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to next month for Know Your Narrator as well, because I'm learning a lot with these segments. So now we know that there's a Narrator Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to look it up.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Exactly. Keep tabs. Sarah, thank you so much. We'll chat in September.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Sara Hillis joining us for Know Your Narrator. This is a monthly segment we're tossing on to AMI Audiobook Review. And that's it for this week's episode. We'll be back next time around with a guest, an avid audiobook listener. Until then, happy audiobook listening.
This was an AMI podcast. For more accessible media, visit ami.ca. This was an AMI podcast. For more accessible media, visit ami.ca.